Do you hate double dies because you just can't get it? Well, I've got my microscope here, and I'm going to show you some double dies under the microscope. Try to help you out, see if it can help you identify and to see what a double die looks like. And we're going to look at different dates. So stay tuned. But first, here's my website, portsmouthcoinshop.com. We just started some auctions yesterday. We put them up, and we have a lot of silver. These are sterling silver. Who knows what they're going to go for? We've got them starting at $1 bid, no reserves on any of this, no reserves. Except for this one here, $280 on that one, because that's a special one. Underneath every one of my videos is this Coin Help You link right above the subscriber count. If you click that link, you'll go over to my channel, you click the video tab, and you have a search field here that you can use. Or you can go to my most popular videos, or go to my oldest videos, but you can definitely search and ask the question right here. And yeah, you can see some of my early stuff. It's pretty bad. But you could click it right here and ask the question or look up something that you're looking for. I've probably done a video on it. I have 1,400 videos. Also, I have the Coin Help You community. If you can't find it here, you go over there and ask your question there. So first off, let's look at this coin here. Now we're going to look at some non-double dies as well. We're going to look at some die deterioration. We're going to look plating issues, what this is. We're going to look at some strike double coins, and we're going to look at some circulation damage that might make somebody think a coin is double die. But this is a plating disturbance. You can call it die deterioration. You can call it whatever you want. But a lot of these you'll see on the 92s and 99s. And you can see this little line right here, a line right here, and a line right here. This is not a double die. These letters, and I'll show you why it's not, but these letters are the same thickness that they should be. But you've got a little bit of disturbance, some type, in the fields of the plating. Okay, so now Lincoln cents were plated from 1982. Half of them in 82 and half of them weren't. And then 83 on, they're all supposed to be copper-plated zinc planchets. So you're going to have plating issues on all kinds of coins from 82 up to now. And when you see something like this, you know it's not a double die. This is what a 9 looks like when it's a double die, or the whole date. This is a 2019. And what you're looking at is the thickness of the letter, but you're looking at the direction because double dies are in one direction. So it depends on the pivot point, counterclockwise, clockwise, and that kind of thing when you're looking at double dies. So this one, you can see that thicker, and they're thicker in one direction. Nothing like the 1989 that I showed you over here. You see the difference, how thin the 9 is? And then when you're looking at the actual double die, you see the difference. This is a nice little double die to find. You can still find this. Now, the whole coin doesn't look doubled. It's mostly concentrated on the date. This is, but you can see it in the trust a little bit. This is what they call a class 9, and we use single squeeze now instead of the double squeeze that they used to use when they created the dies, the working dies. And what happened is it's just out of place a little bit. It pops back into place and it causes this. That's what they're calling class 9 double dies. So let's take a look at some strike double coins and some other things here. So here is an example of strike doubling. Now, it looks like the letters might be thicker, but they're not. And this is the problem with circulated coins. We're going to get a little bit closer on these. Now we can see it a little bit better. Do you see how the numbers are thinner? They were literally cut into. I wish I could show you a side angle view of this because you literally have a flat shelf right along the sides of the letters. It's flat because of the die cavity basically smashed or moved the metal, cut the metal, whatever you want to say, whatever terminology you want to use, but it displaced the metal. And whenever it retracted from the strike, it jarred a little bit. Anytime the mint tightened down the die after this happened, it stopped occurring. So they know that it's because something was a little loose, and it could be just barely, because this is very small. We're looking under a lot of magnification. These numbers are extremely small, but you can definitely tell that they are smaller, not larger. They're the size they should be, but they have flat shelf-like appearance to the sides of them. This is not as extreme, but you can see it at the 9. You see up the 9, the curve, and you can see it at the, not quite the tail, but the upper loop that is where it starts. You can see that flat shelf. So this is a little more, this is a higher relief strike doubling, which you got flat filled. You can see it under the 8, and you can also see it under the mint mark. See, double dies would occur back then, before, especially back before 90, 89. The double dies would not include the mint mark because the mint mark was added after the die was created. So that's how you know back in the day when they used to hand punch mint marks, whether it was strike doubling or not, because if it's on the mint mark, more than likely you're probably looking at strike double coin, anything before 90 or 91. So you can see a little bit of this too on the T. Try to focus in for you a little bit. So that's strike doubling as well. I'm going to show you a few more examples. It's always good to look at different examples of this. Here's another example. See, you can see how the flat field is. Now, a lot of people think, well, I see double dies that look something like that. But are the letters thicker? That's important. The letters must be thicker. If they're not thicker, then it doesn't matter if it looks the same. You can see a little bit on this one too, little strike doubling. This is the kind that would fool people more than any of them. But you can definitely see it's a flat look to it. Not the same as double dies we're going to look at here. Here's another example. Strike doubling. As you can see, it's just flat. It did not enlarge the letters. And for the sake of being redundant here, I don't want to be redundant, but it's important to note this. So the first thing you need to do whenever you're looking at double dies, don't look for die marks. You need to learn how to identify a double die before you look for die marks. Die marks don't make a coin a double die. It's another thing. Also, and I've said it before, this is not a double struck coin, or double dies are not double struck coins. The dies were already double before they struck the coin. So that's why you get multiple double dies for a certain date and mint. Then we got this one, and this one's kind of cool. It's a silver coin. And this strike doubles here. As you can see it on the stars. It's pretty extreme like the other ones. I tried to show both examples, extreme and not extreme. But these, you can see, will fool people because it's not flat field. Flat field, most people can identify, but still, this is not a double die because the 8's the same size it's supposed to be. One way to do it is that if you look at the right and the left side, you will see that on the 8 here, if you look at the left side of the 8, right underneath that loop, right before it goes into the middle, you can see that it's a little bit thinner than on the right-hand side. I know a lot of people are like, well, I don't know if I see that or not. Well, the coin's kind of beat up a little bit, but there is a difference in size there. That's very important to note, as I've said it before. The other issue people have is die deterioration, especially on nickels. They think that it looks thicker because of the appearance, and they are kind of, but it's because the die cavity is wearing down. Nickel's very hard on the dies. But this is typical die deterioration. You see all the die striations, and you can see it on the Liberty especially. And like I said, this is just your die deterioration here. It's not a double die, even though it looks like it might be a little bit thicker. See if there's any on the reverse. A lot of people looking at the Monticello. And like I said, it's just a thickening of the letters from the circulation and die deterioration on this coin. That's all it is. Then we have die deterioration on a quarter. And this is what they call the orange peel effect. And it can make coins look all kinds of odd. And let's see if it's on the date any. Yeah, a lot of people think that might be a double die and it looks thicker. But when you see a coin with all this die deterioration going on, die striations where the die is breaking down, the die face is actually warping, then you know that it's not a double die. I'm not saying that can't be there's not a double die with this, but most of the time, when you look up double die pictures, I don't see them like this. Okay, they're just either double dies or they're not. Then here's an example of a mint mark that was hit. And a lot of people think, well, that looks like a split. Over on the 4 is one of the examples of that, but you got the 9 there. It makes it look a little bit thicker. Without magnification, naked eye, or if you don't have really good eyesight, it might look like a double die to you. But this is not. These are circulation hits. So they're contact marks is what they call them. And you can see it on the 6 as well. It's just not a double die. Let's see if there's anything else to look at. It's pretty cool to be able to properly look at coins under the microscope when you know what you're looking at, because you can really look at some things that you've never seen before, but know that stuff's so small, these little anomalies and contact marks and dots and dye deterioration and discolorations and all that is not worth your effort. It's just fun to look at until you learn what a coin looks like and what double dies look like. So I do have some more double dies to show you, and the thumb is doubled on here. This is a well-known double die. These were back in 2009. Very minor. You'll have some on the foot, the boot there would be double die. They're minor double dies, but you can find them. 1972 is another year that you can find double dies. It's probably the best year in the Lincoln Cent series to find a double die, because there are so many of them. There's like 38, I think, or 30 some, or something like that. It's the same thing with the 2023 nickels or 2022 nickels. There's multiples of those. I did a video on them. So you can tell this is a double die even though it's circulated, because look at the Liberty. Do you see where it's a little bit larger? I know it's harder to tell, but also you can see the top of the T's and the last leg of the Y there is doubled. It's hard to tell in this image. It's hard to tell when they're circulated and beat up like this, but then we got to look at the end God. Can you see how the O and the D, they're thicker? And you can see it on the W as well. So they're normal sized letters plus an extra doubled letter right next to it. That's a pretty cool double die. These can be found pretty often. Like I said, to get you some rolls of 72s, and I guarantee you're going to find some type of minor double die, more than likely after a while. Not worth a lot of money, but they're worth a little bit. And here's another, and same thing, the B, the T, and the Y. It's hard to see, but it's on the L as well. This one's just circulated, so very similar to the other one. But you can see the double die here. I've discovered these myself. So the 72 would be a good year. Here's a 1995 double die. And this one here was graded Mint State 62 by Annex. But you can see the doubled O and the G especially, and the N. And really in the Liberty, that's where you can really see it. It's not so much on the date on this one, because like I said, double dies are different directions. It depends on if the impression was counterclockwise, clockwise, or at an angle, or there's different classes of double dies. It's very important to learn the classes of double dies. Kuneca Variety Vista has an example of it. I have it in a video, all the classes of double dies. I'll put it in the description of this video in a pinned comment, my video on the different classes of double dies, because you need to know that. Here's a Washington quarter. This one here was graded AU53 by Annex, and it's the FS101 die 1. So it's a 43S Washington quarter, and you can see that's pretty obvious. You can see these with the naked eye because they're a little bit larger than a cent or a dime. And you can see a little bit on the date. And a lot of people are like, that looks like flat fill. But this is the deal. If you look at the 4, it's the right size. Look to the right of the 4 and look at the opening of the 4. It's thicker. That makes it thicker. That's how you know the difference. You want to know, or at least be able to identify with your eyeballs, the actual letter size, and if the doubling or doubled looks thicker, makes it look bigger. And it does. It most certainly does. And let's see up here, a little bit on the L and the I and the B. It's a pretty cool double die to find right there. Mint State grades, it's a little more expensive. Don't have the value right off the top of my head. Don't know what they've been selling for. These are in Annex holders. So then you have a Kennedy half dollar, and this one here was graded Mint State 64. And it's important to identify the actual double die it is. Some are more rare than others. This one is the FS102 double die 7. Those are just catalog numbers and things. The FS and all. It's like a cherry pickers. Just to give you an idea of which one it is, because some are more rare than others and some are more valuable than others. This one's a really nice double die to find. It's a Kennedy half dollar. You can find some in 64. Or sometimes you have to just look at the top of the letters and trust and see the little split serif there. Let's see, we got a little one there on the 6. And let's see, and God We Trust is a tad bit thicker, but like I said, they can be in different directions and not always on the entire coin. Strike doubling can be very small areas of the coin. It doesn't have to be all over the coin. I mean, it can be something as small as the mint mark, or, as small as one of the two of the letters. But when you're looking at double dies, you are looking at the letters being larger than what they should be when you add the doubled feature on the side. And that's the difference. I mean, I don't know exactly what it would take to explain to people to get it, but when you're looking at these, that's what you're looking for. And you see something that looks flat like it's been like a razor blade cut it off, or like imagine one of these being Play-Doh and something coming along and cutting a piece of it out or something. I don't know if that's a good way to say it, but we've looked at double dies, and let's go back to looking at a strike double coin. And you can see the difference. I mean, can you see the difference now? I mean, after I've shown you a bunch of double dies, and I mean, it's not the same because of the fact that it's a thicker letter on a double die, and it's not on a strike double coin. Kind of hard to compare doing it like this, but you can see the letters are thicker and it's more rounded. The doubled features are a little more rounded, whereas this is sharp, angled, cut into the coin, a little more obvious as a strike double coin. So I felt like doing another double die video. Hopefully this helps some of you visualize it. I would love for everybody to know what a double die looks like and what it doesn't look like. If you think you found one, go over to Coin Help You community and post an image front and back, just one coin per topic, and we'll be glad to help you out and praise you if you find one. I mean, it's always fun to find something you've been looking for and trying to identify. I know the struggle. I've been through it before, trying to figure all this out. I was a newbie at one time myself. I mean, when you grew up in coins like I did, it was all about the silver and the gold and the key dates. It wasn't anything about the special stuff, unless it was a 55 double die or a 3-leg buffalo. Those were a little different because everybody knew about them. But the 55 double die is just so obvious. Everybody could find them. Not these minor ones, a little bit different. So thanks for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and have a great day.